Hey, it's Victor Lucas from the Electric Playground, and I am with Fede Álvarez, who is the writer and director on Alien Romulus. I've seen about 15 minutes of this movie already, Fede, and it is stunning. It is absolutely terrifying. How are you feeling? You're starting to let this film out into the world and getting feedback from different people out there. How are you feeling right now?
I feel it's great. I mean, yesterday was very special too. Yesterday was the first time I could finally, show some of the movie to a crowd of just movie lovers and fans. So it was amazing. That you work so long, kind of in a cave, without being able to show anything to anybody. So it's such a pleasure to be able to show that crowd of Hall H some footage and getting that reaction from them was, it's what one strive for. Yeah.
Congratulations. Why did you want to jump into the world of Alien? What was important about this franchise to you?
I really felt like through the movies, something that started as a pure horror movie, back in 79, eventually through the years and with the sequels and more movies, naturally has to evolve. And you cannot make the same movie over and over again. So it has to evolve, but I think it over-evolved in a way. It went so far from what it originally was that I felt kind of got lost in the woods a little bit. And what I wanted as a fan, as a director, was like, take it back to that purity of that first film, which is, above all things, like a pure horror movie. That was the desire. Obviously, but we don't want to remake the first movie. We don't want to make the same story again.
Yeah.
So you would need to create a new way in, new characters, a new dynamic for the story, which is quite different from the first one. But on this, a genre level, not a story level, not a character level, at a genre level, to be back to that simplicity of the first film, to be a pure horror film.
Well, give us your overview on Alien Romulus. Take us into the world and the story that you've built for us.
The story starts with a group of friends, which is something you never seen in these movies. Usually there's adults, professionals, there's a couple of relationships maybe that are closer than others, but in general, they're just colleagues, Here, it's the first time they're going to see a group of kids that are a family. They're really friends and family, and they have deep relationships between each other, which makes, it's all there to amp up the horror usually. It's just the more they care about each other, the harder it is to see any of them dying, right? So, which is what really builds the tension, the suspense of any horror movie. But so you meet a group of kids. They really live in this colony that is a shithole. There's a kind of small town at the end of the universe. All they want, like anybody, like any young people, is to get out of there, not end up suffering the same fate of their parents and just spending wasting their life away working on the mines every day. And in order to do so, they come up with this idea of break into this abandoned space station where the key for their escape might be in. Unfortunately, there will be a lot of surprises for them waiting inside that space station. That's going to make things very complicated. But and it's also good to see a bunch of characters that are not experts of any of the things that are happening, which put them more in the place that you are as an audience, which you don't know. You enter in uncharted waters just like they are. So that's basically a nutshell, really, what it is. It's a very simple, straightforward story, based a little bit on the heist genre. They're going to rob this place. They're going to try to break into this place, and things are going to go terribly wrong.
Awesome. Well, you worked with your frequent collaborator, Rodo Sayagas?
Yes.
I knew I was going to butcher that. And I'm a big fan of Evil Dead and Don't Breathe. You guys have been killing it. But I'm curious how you put this script and this idea together. Did you write an outline and then you met with Scott Free and Ridley Scott? Is that how you kind of did it, or did they approach you?
No, it was a bit more romantic, I would say. I mean, right after Don't Breathe, I met with Scott Free and basically I did a Ridley Scott company, and Ridley was starting to do Covenant at the time. And so I just was talking as a fan, like, I'm so excited about this, and I hope the movie does this and that. And I probably said what I said at the beginning of the interview. I feel like this movie has evolved too much and needs to be taken back to its roots. And I kind of pitched, and it was like, what would you do? And I kind of told him the kind of story that I will do. And I kind of stayed there. It was never going to happen at the time. And then a few years later, the studio caught wind of that story, and Ridley still remember that story, and they call me up and says, "Is it true that you once pitched an Alien movie?" And I was like, "Yeah, years ago I had this idea," and it was like, "Would you like to write it and direct it?" And I said, "Yes, of course," and here we are.
That's amazing. Did you see the original Alien film in theaters, or was that a VHS thing for you? And what did it mean to you seeing that original film?
I probably watch it on VHS, and I probably watch it in theaters and reruns at some point. But imagine, I was born in '78, so the movie came out 1 year later. But I probably watched Aliens first, most likely, just because of the times. When I was 12 and you started getting into all that stuff, Aliens was quite fresh still, and on the VHS circuit. So it was one of those that always some friend was going to be playing, and that probably took me to want to watch the first one, and obviously, those movies at that particular time in your life, they just stay with you forever, right? That sort of surprises, and that just the life cycle of the xenomorph is simply the best idea in horror science fiction, right?
Were you trying to strike a balance between horror and action, between Alien and Aliens? Is that kind of, I mean, the movie's set in that time frame. Were you trying to do that?
Yeah, there's definitely some of that, and I think the desire was obviously to take it back to the beginning, and Aliens is in a way still very the infancy of the franchise. So I felt like it was hard to have to choose between one and the other because I loved those two films so much.
They're both amazing.
So I wanted to kind of it is for the most part, I think, is more faithful visually and to the style and genre of the first film, but it definitely amalgams a lot of the elements of Aliens as well.
Awesome. You've got a lot of practical creatures and you're on a lot of practical sets, and I totally was blown away by that. And I'm curious, Hollywood is moving away from that a little bit, and there's some excellent work in visual effects. This isn't meant to kind of throw a downer on visual effects out there, but was it harder to get the green light on spending in that direction? And what's it like to find the artisans that can build all that stuff now as Hollywood is pivoting away from that kind of thing?
Yeah, it was... Yeah, I have to definitely convince a lot of people this was the right way to do it. And like you said, this is not by no means a move that is like, I'm fascinated sometimes where, I said in the past, there's a lot of practical, you've seen all the creatures that we build, and
terrifying, brother.
Yeah,
absolutely scary as hell.
Yeah, that doesn't mean by no means there's no CG in the movie. But people seem to believe that's what I said. But I don't say that. That would be totally unfair, like you said. It's a combination of all the best techniques available. You know what I mean? Over the last 100 years of cinema. People tend to relate too much on VFX because it's quicker a lot of times. It's not cheaper necessarily, but it's quicker on the day when you're shooting because you don't have to shoot anything. You shoot an empty space, someone else will deal with it later. But it is most based on the fact, the reason why usually they don't do it is because it's really hard to do. It's really hard to get right. It's easy to say, let's do things practical. Everybody agrees on that. Who wouldn't want to do it that way? Who wouldn't want to see the creature on the day? The problem is it's really hard to do. That requires a lot more effort, acknowledged by everybody involved in the crew. So that was a big challenge, but I think we definitely succeed, and hopefully you feel the same when you watch the whole movie. But we had to go back to the original guys that worked on Aliens. We had to get the best of the best, not just people that are really good at what they do, but that were involved with the franchise before. And that was a big part of it, and to build miniatures and to shoot spaceships and some of the shots of the movie that is combined with CG as well, which is the beauty of this. I mean, you see space shots that are made in CG, but the spaceship in front of it is real. So it's that combination of the best of the CG with the best of the practical that really makes it feel unique, right? So that's the way. But I guess, like I said, it's not that people don't. It's not even that the studios don't believe in it. They would love you to do it that way, but not everybody knows how to do it. It's sometimes that's why I think we heard so many times, they went practical, but they end up replacing everything in CG, which we didn't do in our movie. But that is because sometimes they try, but they fail, and it doesn't look that good, and have to change it. I can guarantee you that the things that we went for on the practical front, I feel like you've seen it yesterday. I think they look amazing. That chest burster scene, I can't wait to show it to the world because there was no CG version of that would have looked better than that.
Well, I was terrified, man. I can't wait to watch the whole thing. Congratulations, and thank you so much, and great to meet you.
Thank you so much. Likewise.
Impact event in 5,